What's going on, everyone? My name's Brightlife, this is my fancy shirt, and I want to talk to you today about what I would do if I were king of Lord of the Rings Online for an entire year. Let's jump into it. All right, I want to talk about what I would do if I ran Lord of the Rings Online. If I was head of strategic development and I was able to run this game, what would I love to do differently? What would I emphasize? And I'd love to hear your comments on this one. I may drop an idea that you're like, that's the most garbage idea ever. It's all opinion, it's all fun. I don't have the degrees or the experience to be the king, and there's probably a reason that I'm not. But let's jump into what I would do if I were the absolutely most unqualified king of Lord of the Rings Online ever. Let's jump into it. Okay, now the first thing that I would do is, of course, I would go to a big investor. If I were EG3, I would go to a big investor who I know that has a lot of money and say, listen, we have this incredible surge in popularity recently. We've got a lot more content creators. We've got a lot more Twitch streamers. We've got a lot more people watching. We've had a 70% increase in the average player count over the last 45 days. We should invest in this game. And I would have that person commit to a certain amount of investment if I could. I know that's like the easiest thing to do, right? But I'd have that person commit to an investment, and then I would use that money to do a couple of things. The first thing I would do is I would absolutely invest into a server-side graphical engine update, and I would buy new servers in the EU. It's no secret that this is probably Lord of the Rings Online's biggest weakness right now, is their game engine and their server capabilities. For me, I don't get it too often, maybe once every 25-30 minutes I get a decent stutter in the game, but for EU players, it makes the game unplayable for many of them, and it really breaks immersion. And so it's one of the first things that I would do. I would use that money, I would try to invest that money into rebuilding the graphics engine if that's possible. I know that that's a lot of work and a lot of money, but hey, we're just having fun here today. I'd rebuild the graphics engine, and then I would invest in a crazy amount of new server space, and I would want to be able to accommodate somewhere between 500,000 and 1 million new players, and I'll tell you why here in just a moment. All right, the second thing that I would do right away is I would give Refer a Friend bonuses. This game is on a popularity high. I would want to give you a reason to refer your friend, and I would make those reasons pretty much entirely cosmetic. Maybe I would give both of you a free subscription month to, Lord of the Rings Online Premium. Maybe I would give you a new horse, a new outfit, but I'd want you to have something really, really cool to wear to invite your friends. This game, as of right now, I don't see has any reason for me to go out and invite my friend other than I like the game. And of course, that's happening and that's working, but a lot of returning players are coming back. The little edge, the little nod to say, hey, come play this with me. It's one of the biggest strengths of the MMO is it is a real multiplication effect when you can get people excited about a game. And now that people are excited about a game, I would want to give them reasons and their friends reasons to come join the game. Give them something not very consequential, but really important to the player, like maybe a bag upgrade, maybe it's a cosmetic item, but a Refer a Friend bonus would be absolutely huge, and I'd love to see that happen. All right, number 3, I would refresh the graphics. I would take some of the older player models, some of the older player model faces, maybe some of the monsters, the enemies, some of the landscape elements, and I would want to upgrade those to 2022 standards. I would look to World of Warcraft as an example of this. They've been a game for around 15 years, a little bit more than that as well, and yet their graphics really stand up. Even in old expansions, they've been able to update and keep it fresh while still maintaining the identity of the game. I'm not saying I want to make this, look like Elder Scrolls Online. I would love for it to still look like Lord of the Rings Online, but if I were king for a year, that's what I would spend some time doing. I want to refresh the graphics because it's a little bit like this struggle that Final Fantasy XIV has in some cases. Final Fantasy XIV is an Eastern style MMO, and a lot of people don't like Eastern style. A lot of people do, and it's been great, and they've actually overcome that boundary for a lot of people that don't like Eastern style, but even more so, I think a lot of people don't like old graphics. They like, if they're gonna spend their time, they like playing the newest looking games, the most refreshed looking games, and that's what I would do next. All right, next, and this is gonna sound very self-serving, and I promise it's not, but I would absolutely incentivize creators to play this game. If you look at the largest MMOs out there on Twitch right now, Lord of the Rings Online, although it's received a bump in popularity, is still very much the lowest watched stream, and I think there's a reason for that. I think there is incentive just by the fact that there are larger audiences and other MMOs to play those games on Twitch, play those games on YouTube Live, and I would love to give creators, people that, draw audiences to the game, a reason to play the game. Maybe there's a creator code that if you use my creator code, then you get 10% off in the store. And you know what? That 10% goes to the creator or something like that. Or if you join with my creator code, I get a little bit of a bump. Whatever that may be, I think it would be a good thing to incentivize creators, especially in that small to medium sized space, to really come play this game and really enjoy this game. Again, I know it sounds self-serving, but I think it would be really helpful because we need more creators making content on Lord of the Rings Online that is of really high quality, because that draws players back into the game. I can't tell you for me personally in my YouTube comments just how many people have said, hey, after watching these videos, I've decided to try the game and I've subscribed. All right, number 5, I would push to console players. I know, again, this is coming from what SSG is already planning to do, but I would absolutely pursue that goal. I think that there is a wide base of console players that love Lord of the Rings as an IP. They've utilized and played games of the Lord of the Rings IP a lot in the past. And you know what? They only really have a little bit to choose from on the console as far as AAA games in an MMORPG space. And namely, they have Final Fantasy XIV to choose from. What I would love to see is to maybe take a little bite from those desiring players from the Final Fantasy crowd to say, hey, if you love Western style MMOs, if you love Lord of the Rings, this is a great one to play. And if you could port it over to console, I think that would be an absolutely wonderful thing. And so I'm glad that they're already doing that, but that's what I would do if I was king for a year as well. All right, these last two are kind of crazy. And these are the ones that I expect to be a little bit more controversial. You may not like these, you may really like these, but these last two are kind of my if I could dream big, this is what I would do, okay? And let's assuming that I got all 5 that I got before, the 6th one that I would do is I would do a VR version of Lord of the Rings Online. And I know that sounds so stupid and so dumb, but I really think that it could go really well. And here's why. This is a game that is built on immersion. It's built on you going into Middle-earth and really enjoying it. If I could port this game over to console, then I could probably port this game over to VR, because there wouldn't be as many controls. I'm sure that there would be ways to select attacks in a rotation that would work. But if you could put on a VR headset, put on headphones, and just be in Middle-earth, I think that would be absolutely wonderful. And I think it would really emphasize what we would say is the immersion factor of this game. So I would love to see a VR version of this game. Again, that's crazy. I wouldn't play it all the time, but I would try it out. And I think there are a lot of VR game players that would totally try out this game, because it would be the only Lord of the Rings VR game, I think, of its time right now, and it would certainly be the biggest. All right, and my last thing that I would do if I was king for a year, you guys may hate me if I say this, but I would absolutely go and do a huge PR push and get some huge streamers to come play this game. I would pay them to do sponsored streams, and I would do it for around a month. And I know that sounds crazy, and it's like, how could you do that to my game? But if we wanted to see Lord of the Rings Online become really popular again, if we wanted to see more players in the world, and if the servers could handle it, I would pay someone like an Asmongold. I'd pay someone like a Nixium. I would say, come and enjoy this game for a while and just play it in front of your stream. Because what would happen? It would absolutely fill up the servers. And I think that would make this game a lot more fun. PvMP would be solved because there would be people playing player versus monster player. I believe that raids would be filled out much more often. You get a lot more content created around this game, and it would create a hype that would last for a long time. If we look at a game like New World had a lot of hype leading up to it, but there were so many people, because of Twitch drops, that played that game that even though it's died off quite a lot, there's still a lot of players playing that game, and those content creators are still thinking content. They're still thinking future. What happens when New World resurrects? What happens when new dungeons come out? Well, I want to play it again. I would absolutely incentivize some of the biggest content creators in the business to play this game for a week or two. I know it would probably cost a lot of money. I know it would bring a lot of people to the game, but I think it would be a good idea. Now again, it's controversial. I can see why it might not be, but I think it would be the best way to very rapidly fill the game again. And even if that bubble goes away when the other content creators go away, I still think you'd be left over with a lot of people that enjoy the world for what it is. All right, friends, that's my list of things that I would do if I was king for the year of Lord of the Rings Online and I had a good investment to go with. Now, what would you do if you ran Lord of the Rings Online for a year? How would you shift it? Would you shift it at all? Maybe you love it for what it is and you don't want it to change. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. I do read every single one of those. It matters to me, and I think it matters to you for me to do that, so I absolutely do. But hey, as always, friends, if you like this video, like it. If you loved it, subscribe to it. And we do have a community Discord. If you want to join a really cool, positive, friendly community, That link is in the description below. But friends, as always, I want to tell you two things. You are more loved than you know, and you are so much more valuable than you realize. I hope you have an incredible, awesome, amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave it a like. It's totally free to do. Subscribe if you want to see more. And as always, I'm live on Twitch over at twitch.tv/BrightLifeCommunity. We're a community of positive and uplifting gamers. Come find a friend to raid with, grab loot with, and just enjoy life together with. Hope you have an awesome day. Be blessed, and you are so loved and so valuable.